Hi friends, welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
You can't hear my claps or my snaps?
No. Damn it. I was like so excited and then...
Oh no, I'll do it again. Sorry.
No, it's too late. It's too late, Greg.
Here, I'll clap.
See, I didn't hear anything. We heard nothing. Try it again. Okay, you didn't... I see you pulled your punch right there, sir. Anyways, hi everybody. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Anime Book Club podcast. I am your co-host, DJ Montague. That's the guy, the legend of the Hidden Temple himself.
Oh, damn. I am Wedding Planner, Alien Detective.
Nice.
And Human Returning to Earth. Greg, big, smart, large, Jesus.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about Apocalypse Hotel in the final 4 episodes of the first season. I don't know if it gets a second season, but I don't know if it needs it because it was wonderful and I appreciated all of what we watched. Greg, how are you feeling?
It was great. A roller coaster for the ages. The one episode with the detective thing was kind of interesting. But I think all the other episodes were bangers, and episode 9 definitely pulled at some heartstrings.
Yeah, and the thing with that show in general is there's just so much enjoyability. Like, you had said this like episode 6 or 7 or something like that whenever we were recording that. Greg, you were like, I would recommend this show to basically everybody looking to get into anime at the very beginning. It's fun. It's silly. It's
super relatable. Like, there's so many things that they put into the show that, yeah, if you don't relate to the Harmy Yachio romance like DJ Montague here, you basically just have to wait another episode and there's going to be a whole nother thing that
100%
is going to be relatable. So
the thriller detective episode was the weakest of the 12, but I mean, it's still fine. I still enjoyed the episode.
I feel like maybe that one should have been put in a different place, not as episode 10. And those names, dude, like, I feel like my notes are artificially inflated because I had to write like Squirty McSquirtle-a-lot or whatever like the guy's name was like 50 times.
Did not do that.
I think after a while I started to truncate the names. So
yeah, I mean,
as we go through it,
if you do your notes,
see what I wrote.
What you could do is you could do like Mr. SS, you know, and then you could just...
Oh, I could do shorthand like a really smart guy, but nope, I just keep on pushing forward, doing everything as hard as possible.
Okay, way to go, Greg. The spoiler-free version, I guess. Greg, just real quick, you want to give...
Yeah, I mean, we kind of said it already.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Hotel started out as what I thought was a slice of life, and through and through, it still is a slice of life, but they add so many other genre stops along the way. I think you're doing it a disservice by calling it just a slice of life. Like, this is, in my opinion, like an anime that is for everybody, no matter what your anime experience is, what genres that you normally gravitate to. This is something that I think everyone can enjoy, and it has something for everyone.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I had so much fun watching it, and kind of sad it's over. And that's a sign of a great show.
I don't know if I like the end, but I think it fits.
Oh, it fits 100%. I mean, it makes so much sense. It's humanity, you know, as a whole. I enjoyed all of that. I laughed at it, because, like, you can't make it more on the nose than that. But, so let's get into it.
Episode 9. If we remember back to episode 8, Yachio has a tank for legs.
Mm-hmm.
So episode 9 starts with Yachio, and now she has a smaller reception desk next to the normal reception desk to fit her badonkatonk lower half tank leg stature.
Mm-hmm.
And Pongo rolls up and says she has some news to share, and she introduces Ponstein, her Tanukian boyfriend, and she says they're getting married. Yachio immediately rocket punches Ponstein, and he rainbow throws up all over her. And Ponko's like, Yachio, what the hell? And Yachio rolls up to him with the rainbow vomit all over her. And she's like, it seems I'm able to punch Tanukians after uppercutting Bumbuku. And she says that he can't have Ponko and that she's an employee of the hotel and a friend. And how can you take her away without asking me, the acting manager, first?
True. He didn't clock in. He don't work there.
He didn't ask Yachio for Ponko's hand, so yeah, he did it in the wrong order.
Yeah, 100%. That's how I've seen everybody get married.
Yachio pauses and is like, that's why I punched him. And I acted before I could process my thoughts, and Ponko was like, silly Yachio, I'm not quitting the hotel. And Yachio rolls back a couple of feet and is like, oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, congratulations on your marriage.
Zero apology.
Ponko says that Ponstein is a doctor, and he originally visited the hotel as a guest, and he's been looking after Grandma Mujina ever since she got sick. Yachio is like, oh, well, that's nice. Have you told your parents? And they're like, well, about that. And then it cuts to the Tanukian house, and Mommy is like, I'll never let you marry my precious blunder one-night stand drunk of a daughter. And then Yachio rocket punches Bumbuku, and Yachio's like, don't worry, Bumbuku. She isn't leaving the hotel. And Fuguri, who looks like he hasn't aged at all, is like, yeah, Dad, what if Ponko misses out on her breeding period? And Bumbuku is like, I'm not the one that's opposing the marriage. What is happening right now?
It's great.
Mommy started crying, and she's like, deep down, I get it. And then they give their blessing to Ponstein. Ponko was like, did you do us a favor? And Yachio is like, you got it. No more punching. And Ponko is like, no, keep punching. But we want to have an Earth wedding at the hotel. And Polstein is like, weddings on their home planet involve exchanging poop. And Yachio is like, yeah, we can host it.
We can do it at the hotel. We don't have to do like a traditional Tanukian wedding. That sounds awful.
Yeah. We can just have the wedding hold the poop.
Yeah.
Cuts to Ponko talking to Grandma, and she tells her the news, and she's like, man, they should have given their blessing a long time ago. Ponko asks how her dad and mom got married, and Grandma says Mommy showed up out of nowhere and said she was marrying Bumbuku, so she threw hands. And Ponko was like, you punched Mom? And she's like, no, I punched your dad.
I like the direct translations that says, and so I threw hands. Like,
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, that was a direct Japanese translation. Yeah. Grandma is like, man, Ponko, it was like yesterday that you were just a little baby Tanuki. And it flashes back to young Ponko Tanukian. Ponko is getting bullied by other Tanuki kids, and they took her leaf. And young Grandma is like, man, give that leaf back and get out of here if you don't want to get deep fried. And the kids run off. And Grandma gives Ponko a little hair clip and is like, you're going to be the talk of the Tanuki town. So I guess like deep frying each other is a thing because that's what they were afraid of back in episode 3.
Yeah,
I think.
Like deep fried Tanuki, I've never heard of it. And I'm glad because they're adorable. But that sounds terrifying.
Cuts to a different scene of Ponko riding Grandma's back. And Grandma's like, man, don't let a little fall get you down. When people are down, you got to get them all festive. And she starts singing. And they sing together.
Greg, at this juncture where you're like, oh yeah, this is the episode.
Oh, 100%. Even before all of this.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she's been sick for so long, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's a coming.
Yeah.
But it cuts back to the present. And Grandma's like, I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. And Ponko is like, what should I wear? At the hotel, Yachio is running down napkin folding samples for the wedding. And Ponko is like, what the fuck? Who cares how the napkins are folded? Just fucking pick something.
Yeah.
And then they have a food tasting and they had like 100 plates of food. And Yachio is like, which one do you want to go with? And they're like, all of them.
I think most weddings I've seen, either the bride and groom get incredibly fucking obliterated drunk and then the family takes care of everything, or the bride and groom are running around like crazy people trying to do the pictures and like everything. I don't like modern weddings because of that. It's like not a celebration. It's just like, oh, let's get a bunch of fucking pictures and get everybody together so they can have a good time and get drunk.
But Grandma comes to the hotel and she talks to Doorman Robot and she's like, today I'm going to be staying as a guest. And Yachio is like, oh, you're feeling better. And she's like, yup, thumbs up. I feel great. Nothing bad's ever going to happen. I've been stuck in bed and I'm sick of it and need a change of pace. And she hasn't been able to see Ponko at work. Ponko is serving all sorts of guests and Grandma is like, damn, she a big girl now. Grandma is in her hotel room and Yachio knocks and comes in and says she brought what she requested, which is a camera. And Grandma says she's happy that they will be celebrating Ponko's big day. And Yachio says any hotelier would do the same thing. Grandma says, you remember we were forced to flee our home world, right? And we had to abandon everything. And if it wasn't for the hotel, we would have been forced to have Ponko settle for her whole life. And she says she doesn't know how she could ever thank Yachio enough. And Yachio says everyone is happy to be a part of Ponko's wedding.
I didn't even think about it, but like we talked about the shawl probably being something to like have the Tanukians adjust the atmosphere.
Oh, I thought it was like a hologram generator.
Yeah, that sure, whatever. They have something. They're adjusting the atmosphere just fine, but they also can live thousands of years. The thing that's weird to me was like the ending, obviously, and realizing the Tanukians, like their planet was probably extremely similar to Earth, and they just come and hang out and they're like, sup, this is sick as fuck. We're not gonna poop here, but this is cool. It was very interesting to me.
Yeah, from the short flashbacks of the Tanuki world back in like episode 3, it did look pretty similar, just way more poop.
Even in the flashbacks we got here.
Yachio says she'll stop by to pick up the camera at checkout and for Grandma to put her recording in an envelope, and Yachio will take responsibility of the recording until the wedding day. And then I wrote that fucking SD card that she gave Grandma was a 10 petabyte storage chip. So I'm like, damn, she's recording in like 40K, not 4K.
I mean, it's gonna be beautiful. It's going to be better than your eyes.
She just created a clone of herself and put it on the fucking storage chip.
100%. That's why the hologram shows up later.
Yeah, yup. Yachio leaves and Grandma sits on her bed and sighs. And I have a note that says, I think Grandma knows she's not making it to the wedding.
Yeah. It sucks because it's 3 days, basically, or what it felt like. It's like it's right there, and she just didn't make it. And
yeah.
Oh, it's tough, man.
But she did make it.
She did.
So the next day, she checks out, and Ponko says she'll come back to work after she drops her off. And Yachio is like, no problem. And Grandma says she leaves Ponko in Yachio's hands. Yachio goes to clean the room and sees the envelope. And then we have a montage of the hotel getting ready for the wedding. And they set up the ceremony stuff, an environmental robot. Said they're going to have clear skies for the wedding, and it's going to be a perfect day for the party. Fuguri runs in a flurry and calls for Yachio. And it cuts to the Tanuki house, and Grandma has passed. And her leaf on her head has changed from gold to black. And everyone is sad. Cuts to Yachio at her desk at the hotel, looking at the envelope. And she opens it, and it says, to Yachio, with the recording. Ponko is looking worse for wear, and her and Polstein have decided to postpone the wedding to send off Grandma. And Yachio is like, if that's what you guys want. Yachio rolls up to the ceremony location, clutching the envelope, and has a flashback to the owner. And he says the hotel is a place that guests can spend special moments with loved ones, and says that time waits for no one. But if you can turn any day into something special, it may live in our guests' hearts as an unforgettable memory.
This boss must have been like an inspiration to work for.
He seems like a cool guy. I mean, especially because he's killed 5 people too.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because he's got the star under his eye.
Oh, yeah.
5
God
tears
damn
connected.
It, dude. I forgot. Anyways, no, like if you had this dude working at Costco and you're just like, dude, you love being here. Like, this is it for you. This is very exciting because you're like, dude, that's passion. That's love for your work. This guy's got it. And I understand.
And it is sad, because Yachio is hoping that humanity's going to come back and he's just going to be like, hey guys, long time no see.
Right.
But we know at this point in the story.
He's so dead.
Yeah, it's been like 200 fucking years or something like that. It's been like multiple lifetimes. This guy's hella dead.
Yeah.
Yachio talks to Ponko and Polstein and says she wants to go forward with the wedding and that they are starting a new life together. And Grandma lived a full life herself, and Yachio wants to create a special moment for them and to celebrate their new beginning and send Grandma off with them. And she says that's what Grandma wanted as well, as she holds the envelope. And Grandma was the one that loved having fun the most. And Ponko has a short flash to what her grandma said when she wrote her back about when people are sad, you got to make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
They are like, can you do that for us? And Yachio is like, yeah, the hotel's got this. And then she's like, oh, by the way, will my body be fixed by the wedding day?
I was like, wait, what? We're doing this? We're fixing it? Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah, I don't know how they fixed it.
Ponko just was like, oh yeah, I got the parts in last week.
Either that or she custom made parts.
Yeah.
Because she is a rocket scientist, so.
She is. Very good.
It cuts to Yachio in her new body at her locker with pictures of the Tanukians in it, and the ceremony starts, and they announce the bride and groom, along with Grandma. They walk the aisle in what I assume is traditional Tanuki wedding garb, and the robots also carry in Grandma in her casket, with the standard wedding music mixed with what I assume is traditional Tanuki chanting, and they hold a joint ceremony and funeral. Did you play that at the bar the other day?
Yeah, I for sure played that. Someone was like, hey, we got a bachelorette party, and I was like, I got just the song.
Yeah, they're like, we have a bachelorette party and a funeral. What do you got for us? So you're like, I got you.
Don't worry.
Ponko and Polstein thank everyone, but Ponko starts crying and wishes Grandma was here for this.
I started crying.
And everyone is all awkward quiet, but then Grandma's message plays on the big screen and is like, sorry for dying all of a sudden, but I want everyone to celebrate. And in fun times and sad times, we gotta get festive together. And Yachio starts the slow clap.
I legit wept. Not like fucking cried. I was just like, a couple tears. I was like, oh, it's beautiful.
Single tear, yeah.
You know, like as you get older, you lose a lot of things in the world. You stop like gaining so much. You experience loss in your life and it affects you differently. But like seeing it as an adult, I'm like, damn, that's a really cool way to go about it. And I'm always a big fan of celebrations of life. So this was great for me.
Maybe this is the moral of the story. Maybe I'll just like fast forward it again.
Mm.
But I feel like life, as you get older, I feel like your experiences are like diminishing returns almost. Because as you're young, let's just say like middle school, high school, up until college, like life seems faster. Like you're learning all sorts of stuff. Everything's like new. You see new people all the time at school. Mm-hmm. And then you get a job, you go to college, you have a bunch of experiences there. And you're kind of on this roller coaster high of learning just about life. Even like little things like driving, ordering a pizza, and opening a savings account, like little things that as adults, I look back at and I'm like, that's easy as fuck. But then it's kind of like the gym, because when you first start working out, like your gains or whatever are going to be a lot bigger and a lot faster when you first start working out.
Yes.
But as you get to a certain level, what you did before to get your gain, you're only going to gain like half as much as you did before. Mm-hmm. And as you continue to progress, it's going to be smaller and smaller and smaller. So you're going to have to put in the same amount of work just to get a fraction of what you had in the beginning. I feel like that's life also. It's just like as adults, we've experienced so much and had to go through so much that I don't want to say we're running out of experiences, but it's harder and harder to find like a unique, brand new experience as an adult.
Yeah. Well, there's also the factor of time. So time is obviously the only constant that we have currently on Earth. But as you get older, your perception of time speeds up. So like 45 minutes to me is so much faster now than 45 minutes like when I was 11 years old in class staring at the clock. That's also because like school's boring or whatever it is, but you have all these factors that start working against you as you get older. They've done tests of this where they have like, hey, we're going to sit here for 5 minutes. When you feel like the 5 minutes is up, you press the buzzer. And kids were like, the 5 minutes was like at the 2 minute and 15 second. And some adults...
I'm surprised they made it that far.
Right? Well, and a lot of the adults were at like 9 minutes, 12 minutes was like the gap. It was just like, dude, the perception of time, you're just like, it's so diluted. And your experiences and like, it's crazy. It's very crazy to see how accustomed to being alive an adult is.
Yeah.
Truly. And you like you said, the diminishing returns. And this is why something like this, it's just one night. It's just one. I've lived thousands, you know what I mean? And to see that experience on one night out of their 567 years of Ponko being alive or being on Earth, it's a good experience. It's really, really nice to see.
But the ceremony continues, and now Bumbuku is giving his speech, and he's like, man, my emotions are all fucked up. I don't know if I should be sad. I don't know if I should be happy. Am I both? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
They do the incense burning thing for Grandma, and Yachio is like, here's to the first thing they're doing as a couple. Cheers, everyone. And now the party gets started. Fuguri now makes a speech about the tree tests that all married couples must face, and then he talks about balls and shit. But then it cuts to environmental robot breakdancing, and then there's a magic show by the Maid of Honor, which is Yachio.
I love
And they all roll out Grandma's casket, and she does the classic cut the casket into 3 parts, and Bumbuku is just like having a seizure in the corner as they put his mother back together, his dead mother back together.
What a banger, dude. Only in anime would you be able to get away with some shit like this. Like, this fucking killed me. When the fucking robots come out and start spinning the fucking grandma's head and legs around, I was dying. I'm like, this is amazing. We should do this at every wedding.
Ponko and Polstein go to get changed, and they have a video montage of baby pictures of Ponko. And then an old school samurai photo montage of Grandma doing badass shit.
Yeah.
Then Ponko and Polstein roll out in more Japanese-style traditional wedding suit/dress and a candle service. And Grandma's casket has like neon lights and shit on it now.
It's literally the Romeo and Juliet fucking old one with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. It's just that style as a casket.
Yeah.
I fucking died.
100%.
Great.
There's a second message from Grandma, and it's her saying congratulations on the wedding and thanking everyone for coming, and especially Yachio. And she said she wasn't sure if Earth was safe when they first arrived, but the days they spent at the hotel were the best, and she's lucky to have lived a full and happy life. And she's like, Ponko, make sure to groom your coat every day and to always clean your head leaf before bed, no matter how sleepy you are, and to live a happier life than Grandma. And she signs off from life with the song she sang in the flashback, and everyone sings along. Then they do a lantern send-off. Ponko tells Yachio they're glad that they had this ceremony. And then I have a note that says, Polstein seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
That's how the episode ends. Polstein was good guy because basically he had let Ponko like have all of the moments that she needed. He wasn't like overbearing, like husband guy, like, hey, I want to be part of this too.
We also didn't really meet his family and see like that perspective of it.
Yeah. Like Polstein's just Ponko's husband. Like we know nothing else about him.
Yes.
Like his family wasn't there. We only know
that he's a doctor.
The darker side of Polstein as we get into episode 10.
What?
The darker side of Polstein.
What the fuck are you talking about, 10. Greg? What happened? Did I miss something?
I will tell you. In episode 10 of Apocalypse Hotel.
I realized what you're talking about, and I just have to say real quick, when he runs in the hallway and he's screaming about being the cuck husband, I fucking lost it, dude. I like doubled over laughing today. Oh my god, what a fucking amazing sentence.
So, episode 10. The Tanukians are at Grandma's grave, and now Ponko has a kid of her own, Tamako. And she can, like, apparently shapeshift more than a normal Tanukian can, I guess. And everyone is like, oh, Tamako, you Tanuki genius.
It's crazy.
Back at the hotel, it's teeming with guests. And a new guest walks in, and it's like a aunt anteater cross species guy. And Yachio asks if he has a reservation. And he's like, nope. And she offers a room for the night. And he's like, yep, one night. Super large bed. Yachio is like, well, we got rooms with double beds. And he's like, okay, cool. That's good enough. And Yachio has him fill out the registration card. And then he's like, I have 2 more requests. Some other guests take a picture and he covers his face. And he says he's shy, so he would like to dine in his room. Yachio reads the registration card, and his name is Mr. Slurpity Slurp. And she says, no problem, we can bring the meals to your room. And then he also requests that if anyone asks that he's staying here, to not tell anyone, and gets all spooky up in Yachio's grill. Yachio says the privacy of the guests is of the utmost importance, and hands him the room key, and Porter Robot rolls up, but Slurpy is like, I'll take my own bags, thanks. Good thing Yachio isn't the doctor from Lazarus, because she would just be like, fuck yeah, hippo, what's that?
So when he puts the thing up, when they're like the slug monsters, or it's not monsters, the slug people, that's awfully spaciest of me, sorry. I thought he was like hungry, like gonna eat him, because he has like the longer snout, and I was like, oh, and his name's Slurpity Slurp, he's gonna try and eat the slugs. And then that didn't happen.
I just knew that he was bad news the second he walked in the door.
Nah, he's such a nice guy. You gave some candy.
He takes the elevator up, but sees a vase in the hallway and says objects like these, with hearts and souls poured into them, tend to attract unsavory elements. And then he giggles to himself. He's probably talking about himself.
Yeah, but still, like, I mean, sure, man.
Ponko and Tamako bring Slurpy's food to his room. And he opens the door before they can knock, and he asks Tamako if she brought it for him, and she says she's the manager in training intern. He's like, oh, cool. Good girls deserve candy. And he pulls out a red wrapper candy and is like, oh shit, not that one. Then gives her a green wrapper candy, and then she hugs him, and he freaks out, and then they leave. Cuts to a little hut by the lake, and Fuguri has grown up to be a potter, and apparently he's just the potter dude from Uzumaki, just going crazy, like making pots like by a lake in the middle of nowhere.
Dude, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, are we doing this now? This is the horror story? I thought he was gonna be like a killer of the guy.
I did too.
Yeah, it was really
but
good.
Apparently he's just like a very particular artist.
The slug people, I mean, this is a homage to Uzumaki, right? This episode?
I know, like, I feel like that part in particular has to be.
Yeah, the slug people, and then the brother. I always forget Fuguri.
Oh, dude, you're onto something there.
I'm onto something, dude.
The next day, Ponko goes to Slurpy's room and knocks and says he's past his checkout time. And she opens the door and is like, what is this smell? And she opens the curtain, and Slurpy is on his bed, covered in yellow liquid. And Ponko is like, oh shit, he's dead. And then Scare transforms into a tanuki. Yachio and the robots are in the room looking at the body, and they have Ponko tied up. And Yachio is like, you were the last one to enter the room. And Tamako was like, hey mom, look, he's fucking dead. This is crazy. And she's like, man, get away from there. And Yachio is like, how did you kill him? Ponko was like, I didn't kill that shit. I admit he was weird as fuck though. And then Yachio does a lie detector on Ponko. And she's like, well, you're innocent. And Ponko is like, yeah, man, what the fuck? Yachio turns into a detective and is like, the culprit must have entered through the window. But the windows are equipped with animal sensors, so it couldn't have been an organic life form. And then looks at all the robots and they're like, man, what the hell, Yachio? Ponko is like, oh shit, it's one of our robot employees. And Tamako points to Chef Robot and is like, it's you. And he's like, man, what the hell? And Ponko is like, what you served him a stew darkened with black carrots and called it white stew. But they opened his dinner and it wasn't touched. And Yachio is like, Cook Robot, you're off the hook. Tamako then points to Flycatcher Robot and is like, you're the culprit. And Ponko is like, oh no, tell me it isn't so. And Flycatcher is like, I let a mosquito escape. But then Yachio claps it and is like, this is a London underground mosquito, but doesn't see any blood. So she's like, Flycatcher, you're off the hook. Ponko is like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. Oh, wait, I was the one who opened the window anyway. when I walked in. And Yacho was like, damn, we got a cold case.
It's crazy how fast she goes from like, oh shit, someone here did it to, I mean, we'll just cover it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She then says that any hotel that is the scene of a murder quickly loses guests. And then she has flashbacks to all the guests that they have had so far. And she's like, let's cover this up. And everyone is like, what the fuck? Just then, Doorman Robot is like, we have a new guest. And Yachio runs down to reception. And it looks like another anteater guy that wants to stay until morning. And Tamako is like, oh shit, he's back from the dead. The guy is like, okay, whatever. I want a room with a double bed. And Yacho is like, sorry, we only have single bed. And Tamako is like, no, we don't. One just opened. And the guy is like, give me that. And Tamako is like, you got it. One cursed room recommended by Tamako just for you. He's like, what the fuck? And Yacho is like, we can get you a single bed. And he's like, no, I want a double. And Yacho is like, okay, fine. Here, sign this card. The guy is like, hey, do you recognize this guy? And he shows them a picture of Slurpy. And Tamako is like, hey, isn't that you? And Yacho is like, yep, looks like you. And the guy is like, what are you talking about? We look nothing alike.
Spacious. They're spacious as well, apparently.
He says the man is Sneakity Sneak, and he's the worst serial bomb psycho terrorist in all of space history. And he's caused countless deaths on planets all over. And Tamako is like, are you a bomber bastard too? And he's like, no, I'm a cosmic detective. And his name is Squirty Squirt. And Yachio is like, we don't know of any Sneakity Sneak, but we'll let you know when your room is ready. He's like, I don't care if you're cleaning, I'm going. And Yacho is like, no, you can't. And it cuts to the room and Ponko is like trying to scrub Slurpity's dead body in the shower.
It's with the fucking hat, the fucking shampoo hat.
Yeah.
I can't with this show. And
don't want shampoo in his eyes.
Yeah, the references to the shampoo hats, it's crazy. With the Slurpity Slurp, Sneakity Sneak, what was the other one?
Squirtity Squirt.
What the fuck, dude?
I'm probably going to confuse myself later on in this episode, just so everyone knows.
Just call him Sneak and Squirt.
Oh, no, I gotta say what I wrote.
Okay.
Squirtity says he had Sneakity almost within his grasp countless times, but he always escapes. They get into the elevator, and Yachio is like, Tamako, your shoe's untied. And she's like, wait a minute. My shoes don't have laces. And then she leaves her behind and goes with Squirtity. Ponko is still showering Slurpity, and Yachio is walking with Squirtity. And he says that whatever Slurpity goes, he sways people into aiding him.
But his name's Sneakity.
Well, he gave a fake name of Slurpity, but his real name is Sneakity.
Right. I'm just trying to make this worse, Greg. I'm sorry.
Yes. You're doing a good job. And then Yacho is like, oh, now my laces are untied. And he's like, wait a minute, your shoes don't have laces either. They keep moving, and Squirtity says that Slurpity's luck favors him, and him alone. And everyone that he drags into his scheme meets a gruesome end. And then Yacho is like, your laces are untied now. And he's not even wearing shoes. Porter Robot has been calling the room this whole time. And Ponko finally picks up the phone and she's like, oh shit, they're coming to this room right now. And then the door unlocks. Squirtity and Yachio walk in and he's like, this room fucking stinks. And Yachio is like, we can get you a new one. And he's like, nah, I like this smell. And then searches the room and goes into the bathroom. But as he has his back turned, Ponko hangs the body from the ceiling. And then Tamako runs in and is like, hey, it's Mom. Hey, Mr. Squirtity, do you have a twin? And he's like, no, I'm an only child. Yachio is then like, it's afternoon tea time. And he's like, I didn't order that shit. And then Yachio pushes him out of the room and is like, the sugar content will help you investigate with a sharper mind. She takes him down and he's like, yeah, this tea was fine, but this cake plate was fucking fire. And Yachio says that the plate was made by a modern ceramicist, Fuguri Ponza. And he's like, I have a good eye and I can tell good work from bad and to tell truth from lies. It cuts to Fuguri, who is just smashing a bunch of ceramic stuff he made and yelling.
Throwing him on the ground. This shit is trash. I fucking hate it here. This planet sucks and I fucking hate ceramics.
And then he just starts making spiral ceramics right after that.
As any artist would.
Cuts to Tamako coloring at the reception desk. And Polstein walks in and she's like, hey, Dad. And he's like, hey, where's your mom? And she's like, Mom. And then has a flashback to Ponko and dead Slurpity. And she's like, Mom is giving a bath to the Candy Man. And Polstein is like, what the fuck? And then she shows him the picture she was drawing, which was her and Slurpy. And then she changes her face into his and is like, he looks like this. And he's like, where the fuck is he right now?
Where's your mom and where the fuck is this asshole?
Ponko is rolling out Slurpy's body. And Yachio is like, damn, let's hide this shit. But Squirtity is lurking around the corner watching. Flycatcher is watching the cameras and tells Yachio that Squirtity is heading their way, and they hide in the locker room. Yachio is like, we gotta hide this body. And Cleaner Robot A is like, hey, I know a spot. And they put a bathrobe on him and just hide him in plain sight in the lobby.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah. Then they take him to the meat cooler and hang him upside down. And they're like, nope, can't do this either. Food safety issue. Then they put him in a vase, and they're like, nah, this isn't going to work either.
Was it the same vase?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cuts to the movie theater in the hotel showing The Lingering White Shadow, which is a horror killer movie, and then cuts to Polstein, who is on his own mission, looking scary himself. Well, first of all, I just like when stories have a story in itself, like they're inceptioning their own show.
Yeah.
Because even here, the animation of this fake movie that's in this anime is like just as good as the anime.
Yeah, 100%. Would also, like, so this is supposed to be Shutter Island, right? A little bit, because of the redemption arc or whatever it's supposed to be. And then that's what I imagined it was. But what was the other? The Shining?
Yeah.
Happens later in the episode. And then in the beginning we have Uzumaki. So it's like we've got all the like these classics to the horror genre. And then like a detective like Dick Tracy. Yeah. And it's like this episode's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Except for the spin kick we get at the end.
I was kind of hoping they referenced this episode later in the series, but alas, this is like a one-shot for us.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't also bring back Harmy for me.
I kind of wish they did too.
No, Greg.
Because Yachio needs some love in her life.
No, she's fine. She's got her love of her hotel.
Squirtity walks into the theater and he's like, what the fuck is this? And Yachio says, it's a movie. And they show them to guests so they can understand Earth culture, as the girl in the movie is just stabbing something repeatedly. Squirtity is like, okay, and sits down and watches the movie. Then Tamako is like, hey, give me some candy. And he's like, what are you doing? And then Ponko pulls her off of Squirtity, but now Squirtity has the itches. But he's still sitting and watching the movie. The movie is coming to an end, but Tamako is in the movie room just running on the controls, and the screen is lifting and you can see the legs of Slurpy. But then the other aliens in the crowd are blocking Squirtity's view of the hanging legs. The movie ends and Squirtity is like, movies are fucking sick, and leaves the theater. But then the screen goes up all the way and Slurpy is just hanging from a noose from the ceiling behind the movie screen. Ponko tries to throw the body over the roof of the hotel, and Yachio is like, you can't. It's not burnable garbage day. And Ponko is like, I'm tired. Let's turn ourselves in. We can't run away from this, Yachio. Then Yachio punches Ponko and is like, stop running away from not running away. We have to keep running. And Ponko is like, you right. I said I'd stop running. And here I am running away from not running away. Ponko is like, what if we get caught? And Yachio is like, Japanese law says abandoning a corpse gets you 3 years. And then it cuts to Polstein hitting Squirtity with a vase. Ponko is like, how long have we known each other? And Yachio says, it's been 527 years, 75 days, and 6 hours. It cuts back to Polstein, and he's going to stab Squirtity with a vase shard. But then Squirtity shoots his gun, and Polstein turns into a Tanuki. But then Squirtity sees Yachio and Ponko carting off the body and tells them to stop. But then the other alien guests are like, oh shit, he murdered Polstein. Yeah, it's getting crazy up in here.
Yeah, no, it's insane. This episode's wild.
Yachio and Ponko hide, but Squirtity chops the door down, Jack Nicholson style The Shining, and is like, where's the body? But he searches through the laundry, and he doesn't find it. Then Polstein comes in and spinning back kicks Squirtity and is like, "Here I am, bitch." Punko's cucked husband.
He's just fucking screaming it too. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Squirtity is like, "You don't understand. Slurpity has bomb-shaped candies that can destroy entire planets." Then it shows Tamako finding the candy she got from Slurpity, and she just starts eating it.
Yeah.
Cuts back to Squirtity, but he dies and falls on the floor next to Slurpity's body that they had under the bed. And Yachio is like, "Okay, let's cover this up." Cuts to Fuguti praying at Grandma's grave with a ceramic plate he made. And then we have Slurpity and Squirtity's bodies buried right next to her.
Unmarked graves. They have no gravestones.
Yeah, like shallow, unmarked graves.
Yeah.
And then you see all three of them in heaven together.
Just hanging out, vibing.
Yep.
It's so weird.
Craziest episode I've seen.
Yeah.
And so basically the cause of death for anteaters is Tamako. They're just allergic to her and then they die. Either that or she didn't wash her hands. One of the two, because they did have like a washing hand reference. And
I didn't see that.
yeah, maybe it was the bacteria of her not washing her hands. But yeah, that was like a big, crazy, ridiculous episode that had references to all sorts of shit in there, and I'm sure we missed some.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, I'm not a big pop culture guy, but I got my references out of it. I enjoyed. This episode was funny, but it was obviously like unnecessary completely, but it like Fuguti becoming the long-haired, like scraggly facial-haired
Hermit Potter.
Yeah, thumbs up from me.
I was almost going to say that this was a filler episode.
Yeah.
But I retract the filler title because I think this is the first episode that we see grown-up Fuguti.
Yes.
But yeah, after that,
I'm glad he's still living at home, first of all, and also becoming an artist. Like, I get it. Thank you for that. Funny episode.
Onward
Continue
and upward.
on. Yeah.
To episode 11.
I feel like, so you have a lot of notes in this episode, I imagine, right?
I think episode 10, like I fucking had a ton of shit in there.
So like a lot of this episode in general is silent and it's just music. The music in this episode obviously is great. This anime in general, obviously we've done nothing but sing its praises this whole time. It's good. And it was like this episode to me like speaks volumes of like how much Yachio is like becoming human almost and replacing what she was anticipating on coming back. And like the almost like circle of life type of thing where finding replacement parts for things that were malfunctioning in you, finding new routines, new regimens to be better in your own skin kind of thing. This is like a mental health episode, a physical health episode, and just like a it's okay to be on your journey episode. And I love that.
I agree with all that. And I think even though Yachio right now is probably like a fucking 1,000 years old at this point.
Yeah, at least. I'm gonna assume, what was it between Noju Jammer showing up and Unko? How much time was that?
50 years.
50 years. So before that, we had like a 50 or 100-year gap when humanity left, and then before that, she probably was like 20 years old. So I'm gonna assume that Yachio at this point is like 700 something.
She's coming up on being alive for a millennia.
Yeah, she's almost a millennial.
But yeah, this episode, and like to add to what you were saying, Yachio has been a hotelier robot her whole life, almost a millennia.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of goes to what we were saying before about diminishing returns of experiences in life, because it's basically taken her this long to experience what the owner was saying about understanding the guests. Because as you say, she's becoming more human. And I think she's understanding humanity a little bit more by going through this episode. So even though she was assigned these tasks by the owner however long ago, she is now just starting to learn about that experience. And, there's like giant gaps where probably, they have time skips, obviously, in this anime. So there's hundreds of year gaps where it's just assumed they're just like running the hotel.
Yeah.
Life is just going. Like nothing necessarily is
You
happening crazy.
You live so long. It's almost Free Ren-esque, where she's coming across like all this new information as these people are long gone, and like finally getting to understand what they said. And if you scrunch down the timeline and say like, okay, humans live up to like a max of like 100 years. And she's almost at 1,000. So she's like, in what we would see is like 72 years old in what would make more sense to us. And finally, like really understanding what it is to be alive. That's still insane too. Even putting it into a 72-year-old perspective.
And I have a note at the end of my notes here, but I'm going to say it first. I said that this episode is like the ultimate slice of life episode because there's like literally 15 seconds of dialogue and then everything else is just atmosphere and Yachio walking around.
Yeah.
No talking. It's just taking in the sights and the sounds of this world that they've created.
Yeah. And the world that they've been living in and has not changed. Like the only thing that's changed is like nature is reclaimed, a lot of the buildings and a lot of what's going on. And she hasn't gone to experience that at all. Like she's fought the noodle, like, and stuff like that, but she doesn't just go out there to experience the world.
Yeah, unless she's kidnapped by Harmy.
Yeah, exactly. Everything had a purpose. And so this episode of just her journey, also it being over the course of like half a day, like was funny too. In my head, I was like expecting her to come back to the hotel and Punko be like, where have you been? It's been a year. Where the fuck did you go?
It was just 45 minutes.
Yeah, basically. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I love it, but also like time makes no sense in this show whatsoever.
Yeah, but okay, episode 11. The lobby is teeming with alien guests, and Yachio is sitting in the lobby in regular clothes, and then flashes back to Punko telling Yachio that according to the labor laws, you've been working way too much, and that overworking employees causes long-term issues, and you gotta take some time off. Yachio is like, wait, why now? And Punko says she's been learning all about Earth. An environmental robot told her about a bookstore in Roppongi that was still in good shape, and she borrowed a bunch of labor law books. Yachio is like, cool, but... And then Punko is like, I know you're gonna say that you're a robot, but request denied. And even a robot can break down from continuous use. And Punko makes her take 2 days off and took her uniform so she can't work. Back to Yachio sitting on the couch in the lobby. She's like, what do you do on a day off? And then a guest walks in and she goes right into work mode, but it's interrupted by Punko, who greets the guest instead. Yachio gets up and takes some money from their giant stack of cash they have that's just chilling at the front desk. And she's like, I want a room. Yachio takes the elevator to the 6th floor and overhears some amoebas talking about the onsen, but then greets them like an employee on accident. She gets to her room and does her normal work checklist and is like, shampoo hat. Yachio sits on the bed and just lays there, but doesn't know what to do. So she messes up the sheets and then she remakes the bed. She closes her eyes and does a health check on herself, and there's a part that is recommended for immediate replacement. And it's like on the left side of her head. I don't know which part it is.
I thought it was the heart. But yes, like in the screen, it shows her heart pulsing. And that's what I thought at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just following where the arrow thing was. And it looked like it was in her head. But
it is.
I don't know.
It is definitely in her head. We see her replace it twice. So
it's like the Mega Man X intro thing. That's like what her diagnostic screen looked like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yachio walks out of the hotel, and a guest is asking Doorman Robot if they accept pets. And he's like, we do now, but tag your pet with this hotel tag because we do get some runaways. Yachio goes to the onsen and then goes to the giant pile of decommissioned robots and scans for the part she needs, but there are no compatible parts. But then she sees an old magazine on one of them, and it has recommendations on what to do on a day off if you're in Ginza. Yachio walks through Ginza per the magazine's recommendations, but Ginza is all fucked up, and she's in a mall and goes to a clothing store and tries on some clothes. She then goes to a shrine and donates an entire stack of bills and does the standard prayer to clap, shake the thing, and then bow. She then goes to the distillery and walks in and smiles. She then goes to the launch pad, and her face is just cut and pasted onto some old pictures of astronauts.
That's the picture from that Bruce Willis movie.
Armageddon.
Yeah, it's definitely, she's definitely Bruce.
She then goes to the Tanuki's house, but no one is home. And then she just looks in all of the windows.
Wouldn't that actually make sense? Hold on, I made that as a joke. I'm going to see where his placement was in the... continue, Greg, sorry.
She walks back and sees another broken robot, and she scans it, but no compatible parts. She goes to where they first found the noodle. In the desert is now growing vegetation. And she sees a bunch of different animals and remembers when Punko dropped the Noju Jammer vial into the water, and it apparently started the terraforming process. She goes to some business buildings and sits down in some busted outdoor furniture with an old coffee cup on the table and hangs out. And this was actually pretty, I guess, nostalgic for me, because I didn't do this in Ginza, but in a lot of other cities in Japan, I kind of did this same thing where, like, I don't fucking know what to do.
Yeah.
So I just, like, walk around and then, I would just, like, sit in front of buildings with, like, a cup of coffee and just sit there and literally fucking do nothing besides just people watch, I guess.
I imagine when you're on that kind of experience by yourself and there's no direction, it's really hard to just, like, create something out of nothing. When you're just like, okay, I speak the language, you speak the language a little bit, but you're like, I don't really know where to go. And I don't really want to ask people and, like, interrupt what they're doing. You're just kind of like, well, this is what it is now. I'll do what minimal thing I can do and enjoy it. And so she did.
That's basically what I did when I was in Japan. It was just a lot of walking around and I guess trying to experience Japan the best I could as a solo traveler. I did this a lot. So this part, like, resonated with me a lot.
Hold on. I'm almost right. That is the picture from Armageddon. Hold on. I'll show you guys on the screen real quick. Here's the picture, right, of the Armageddon. And then here's the screenshot of all of them walking. It's the fucking same. That's an excellent reference, dude. Yeah, this is a banger reference. But I'm gonna find out who she is now. That's crazy. There's one extra person in the original, so I guess she's definitely Bruce Willis, because he's, yeah, 100%. She's Bruce Willis. That is great. I love that as a reference. I made it as a joke, and it's real. That's fantastic.
That's the theme of this show.
100%.
They have all these little details in there.
Yeah.
And they don't really mean much. It's just for kind of the people that notice it and are just like, oh, hey, that's cool.
Yeah. And we just did. And that's an experience we now have. Thank you, Apocalypse Hotel.
But she goes into an old department store or something, and there's a bunch of camping supplies still in their display cases, and she takes them. She then goes into a karaoke room, and then she plays pachinko. And is just raking it in.
Dude, she's addicted, bro.
And when she walks out, it's nighttime, just like real gambling.
Yeah.
She gets to a graveyard and is doing some camping and makes a raging fire. But then a bunch of animals come out of the woodwork and hang out with Yachio. But then I have, like, a note here that says, shouldn't the animals be scared of fire?
A lot of what I've thought about with this show is, like, a lot of the animals, they don't have their natural predators, which humans are a predator of a lot of different animals. So they probably aren't fearful of humans, and they probably don't see fire in the wild very often, other than, like, lightning strikes and, like, forest fires like that. But in this location, like, it's just brand new foliage. We're seeing, like, the resurgence of the area. These animals probably have never, like, their primal instincts are probably like, fuck it, dude, it's warm over here. And then they all lay down and take a nap.
Yachio then makes coffee using her hot water kettle skill and just chills with the animals. The next morning, the animals are gone, and Yachio powers back up and does another system check, and it still says that she needs a replacement part.
See, this is an excellent reference, by the way. It's like, she's doing all these things for self-fulfillment, like trying to understand where she is, and she still is missing something.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of mental health. and like wellness and find what you're looking for, and hopefully it creates happiness with you. And if it doesn't, it's okay. You're learning more about yourself every day. And that's a really, really good thing. And this was like something like that. Like, okay, well, that wasn't the fulfillment of sleeping like a Disney princess with a bunch of animals, but that was pretty sick. Gonna keep going. Gonna move on and find the next thing.
Yep.
I quite enjoyed this.
A horse rolls up and she just walks around with the horse and they find its herd, and then the horse leaves together with the herd. But there's a storage facility where the horses were, and she scans it and it has compatible replacement parts. She replaces the part that was damaged, but her system says that the new part is damaged as well. So that is a bum part. She then goes to the beach and there's a bunch of seals that then run up to her, and she does her fireworks skill and the seals loved it. And then they swim away and she enjoys the ocean and the sky.
Those seals are fucking adorable, dude.
As I'm talking, there has been no dialogue so far.
All of
besides the stuff in the beginning, all of this is literally silent. Besides like the music and the sounds of nature and stuff like that. She walks past some political building with a bunch of protest signs saying to save all humans and no discrimination. She keeps walking and sees a bunch of busted up lime scooters and other broken maintenance, cleaner, and gardener robots at a building. And she enters it, and there are more busted robots, the same ones at the hotel. She then stumbles on an android that looks just like her, and she scans it, and she's damaged beyond repair, but she has a compatible part.
And this is like hospital stuff. Like when somebody passes, if you're an organ donor, you're going to save lives. It's like stuff like this. I love this. I love this for the sake of humanity continuing forward.
She pays her respects and then takes the part that she needs, and it was in good condition. And now Yachio is green across the board. She leaves the building, and the horse from before shows up and just grows wings. And it's a pet that was from the hotel. And then she goes to pet it, and then it just bites her hand. She unlocks the extra mission of getting bit by a Pegasus, and she unlocks the cross-eye function.
What use is this? I don't understand.
She hasn't used a lot of her functions, like the self-destruct one that she unlocked.
Well, good. I'm glad. We'd have a very short show in comparison.
She rides the Pegasus back to the hotel, still cross-eyed, and sees a ship descending to the hotel.
Did you think this was Harmy?
No, I didn't.
Really?
No, because he didn't descend. He flew the ship overhead and literally jumped out in a storm and slaughter suit.
Oh, that's true.
She gets back and returns the Pegasus to the guest, and Punko is like, "Oh, Yachio, how was your time off?" And she says that she felt alive.
Okay, I wonder, so like the picture of them looking over Ginza, right, and seeing where the ship is coming down, you could absolutely pinpoint where the Gengaro Hotel is supposed to be.
Oh,
like those three buildings and reference. This was, if an accurate depiction of Ginza, you would be like, yeah, I know exactly where that is.
So that's the end of episode 11.
And Punko asks how she's doing, and she's like, I felt alive.
Oh yeah, I said that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you, Greg?
Well, we could both say it. That's okay.
No, it's illegal.
Okay.
Someone's going to jail now.
Yeah, just like having your hair up before you're 16.
Right. Illegal.
It was a good episode because it was relaxing for Yachio, and even as the viewer, it was relaxing because you didn't necessarily even really have to like listen because there was barely any dialogue. You had a little in the beginning, you had a little at the end. I think Yachio said something to the horse or something after it bit her, but more or less, you just got to sit back and chill with Yachio, and it was just like a super chill episode.
This is what I look at when you have like a piece of art. You get to breathe and you enjoy taking in what you're watching or what you're experiencing. It's like it means something to everyone else. It could mean similar things, or it could mean something completely different. Somebody could have been bored by this episode, but to me, this episode was a piece of art, and it was very much enjoyed, and it brings back like nostalgic feelings for all the different things that I talked about, like humanity and like experiencing the world as you are and learning to heal and all of that stuff. So other people could have been like, oh, she was just on a journey to like fix some fucking broken parts, but it doesn't have that reference. And that's what's so great about this episode. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It just shows you whatever it's showing you. And the director obviously is trying to speak to you, but it's not just hammering down what it is. I like it.
But it is also good because it segues into the finale. Because we see the ship crash landing in episode 11, and then we actually see the crash landed ship in episode 12. So the ship crash lands, and a small statured being gets out in a spacesuit and tries to pull up a picture of something on their Apple Watch, but it's all garbled.
I love this image right here. That little space person looking at the broken spaceship just fucked up, and it's like, yeah, Apocalypse Hotel. This is it.
I feel like that's a reference to something also, just that still you have.
It very well could be Interstellar or something like that. I don't know. I didn't watch Interstellar. I should watch Interstellar at some point in my life. But I feel like this, it's great imagery. It's well purposed. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a cool little send-off for the show.
But it picks up at the end of episode 11 where Yachio enjoyed her time off, and now she's like, time to get changed and get back to work. Yachio is behind the desk, and Ponko is like, a day off means the actual whole day, Yachio. And Yachio is like, the time off gave me motivation to get back to work. And Ponko is like, that's not how it works, but okay. The spacesuit being walks into the hotel and sees an alien float by, and then they whip out a gat. And Yachio is like, hey, don't do that. And the spacesuit being is like, oh, sorry. And Ponko and Yachio are like, oh, damn, they're speaking Japanese, like actual Japanese. Mm-hmm. The spacesuit being clears the tint on their helmet, and they're like, technically, I'm a human, but this is my first time visiting Earth. Ponko is like, holy shit, Yachio, an actual Earthling. And Yachio doesn't flinch and is just like, we've been awaiting your return. Yachio is like, are you alone? And she's like, yeah. And then she said, when is humanity returning? And the girl is like, no idea. And she's just here to survey Earth's current state. Yachio is like, what? And the girl says Earth was supposed to not have any life forms, but it's cool, there's a hotel and other humans, and Yachio is like, nope, no other humans are here. She's like, oh. And then Yachio is like, you want to stay at our hotel? And she's like, sure. And then has her fill out the card. Her name is Tomari Iori, and her address is a spaceship, and she lists her nationality as Japanese. She takes Tomari to her room, and she's like, holy shit, all this space for one person. And Yachio says they have a spacesuit cleaning service too. She checks out the hotel, and she's like, damn, is this all free to use? And Yachio is like, is it different on your planet? And she says they don't have a planet, and they reside in interstellar arcs. She says after leaving Earth, they tried several times to take resident on other planets, but due to issues with a bunch of stuff, they haven't found a new home, and everything on their arc is controlled by their life support systems. And she's only seen nature in research documents. She said her mission was to see if Earth was inhabitable again, but her virus scanner got broken in the crash, and Yachio is like, oh, well, let me help with that. And then she sees the shampoo hat and is like, holy shit, is that a shampoo hat? And Yachio is like, fuck yeah, that's a shampoo hat. Why don't you use it? And she's like, well, I can't with the spacesuit. And she's like, just put it on the top. And she's like, well, I can't shower. And she's like, just give it a try. Just do it. It then cuts to Yachio at the front desk, mournfully looking at the shampoo hat. And Ponko is like, Yachio, humans came back. And Yachio is like, it's just a survey mission. And she's like, well, it's possible. And Yachio is like, well, I don't know if they're truly an Earthling. And Yachio says she's having second thoughts because she didn't want to use the shampoo hat. And any human would leap at the opportunity.
I would. I know I would. Because, like,
I would put on a shampoo hat.
Have you seen
100%.
my, like, it would cover right here? It would be perfect. Because I get the high bald fade, and all the good hair would get the hair cleaning perfectly.
Let me ask you something.
I'm ready.
Have you used a bidet?
Yeah.
I haven't used a bidet until I went to Japan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't gone to Japan, but I've used a bidet. Not correctly. Well, I mean, maybe was it correct?
In America, like bidets weren't like a big thing. Like now, I think they're more accepted.
Dude, there's still like maybe 10%, maybe 8% of people that would ever have used a bidet, and even less that own one. This is a statistic I've always thought about, and this is a perfect time. What percentage of...
Well, as you look it up, when I first went to Japan, I think my first trip there was, I want to say like 2010 or something, or 2011. And I was like, bidets are weird. As a dude, an American dude, I was like, I don't know, do you want like water shooting up there and stuff? But then it was like the onsen. You know, like I mentally prepared myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And then I used a bidet for the first time. And I was like, you know what? That was pretty nice. Pretty refreshing, actually.
Okay, real quick, secondary tangent. Yes.
Okay.
But 12% of American households currently have regular access to bidets, according to a plumbing company. Secondly, the invention of toilet paper was so revolutionary in terms of like health and reduction in bacteria and life expectancy shooting up that they were like, yeah, that's it, dude, that's it. No need to clean your butt. We got the toilet paper. In the question that I loved when people were questioning me about bidets was like, hey, if you had poop on your hand and you just wiped it off with toilet paper, would you feel like your hand was clean? And it's like, you're right. No, I would go wash my fucking hands. I should treat my booty hole like that. It should have the same experience as my hands. It's on my body. That's right.
And I think if you think back, like who taught you to go to the bathroom? Basically your parents.
No, the book Everybody Poops did.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
But then like, you know, they didn't really like teach you that in school or anywhere else, really. Mm-hmm. It was just assumed like go to the bathroom and you should know how to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like almost every other country besides America, I think, has like bidets or some form of bidet. Because I know like Vietnam, they literally have like a fucking hose that you use and you have to like manually bidet yourself. But it's there and it exists.
Tertiary, in elementary school, I remember there was a kid, but he went to the bathroom and he had come back and like asked the teacher, he's like, hey, can I talk to you? And the teacher's like, no, I'm teaching a fucking class, dude. Like, looks at him and then he saw like the worry on his face and then went out into the hallway. He had an accident, but he also didn't really know how to use the bathroom. Like, he wasn't properly taught. Like, he communicated. So I imagine his home was fucking filthy. But that is the thing, like, it's so normally supposed to be ingrained that your parents teach you how to use the bathroom. Like, that shit blew like the entire class's mind, and that kid was called like Poopy Pants forever. And it's like, it's fucked up, dude. It sucks.
Yeah, it's totally fucked up. Yeah, you only learn that stuff from like your parents, right? It's not like you watch other people go to the bathroom and then you learn from.
You're not like
experience or whatever.
Let me write this in my notebook about poop.
The whole reason I talked about fucking bidets is the shampoo hats.
Yeah.
It's like in America, there are no shampoo hats. But if there was a shampoo hat, I would give it a shot. And I would encourage anyone that hasn't used a bidet, if you ever come across the opportunity to use one.
Dude, they're cheap as fuck. Just buy one on Amazon. They're like $50.
You can get the ones that don't require power, that will just like sit in line with the current water feed that goes to the toilet.
It is a different experience. But when I did the bidet, I was like, this is awesome. This is an incredible experience. And enlightening. And it was warm. It was great. But also, like, I take showers, so I expected the warmth.
But then also with the showers, again, like, your parents are the only one that teaches you how to take a shower.
Yeah.
If your parents don't tell you to wash between your cheeks, you as an individual are just like, yeah, I just stand here and water hits me and everything magically is clean, and then I get out.
No, that ain't how that works.
Well, I know that's not how it works, but that's how some people are taught.
Yeah, and that's, again, very fucking terrifying. That is how some people are just like, yep, that's it for me.
The whole point is the shampoo hat. I would use a shampoo hat.
100%.
Onward with the episode. The next day,
We get derailed so much lately.
they have the staff meeting, and Yachio says a human is staying with them, and everyone is excited, and they recite the hotel commandments, which there are now 12 of. So we have the original 10, but they rearranged them a little bit to fit the extra 2.
Yeah.
So we have the first 9 of the commandments, and then the original 10 commandment, it was moved to the 12th spot. So now number 10 and number 11 are 2 new commandments. So commandment 10 was a true hotel is always storied, but it is replaced with discipline with a fist, reconcile with a high five. And then commandment 11 is wag your tail, but never wag a shift. And then commandment 12 is now a true hotel is always storied. As they recite the commandments, Tomari is watching the Gingaru intro video on the TV in her hotel room. The Tanukians are helping Tomari repair her spaceship, and they said they destroyed their own ship when they landed on Earth 2. Bumbuku is like, oh damn, this part needs to get replaced. And he's like, yeah, I've tinkered with a ship like this before. And Tomari is like, oh damn, you were on an Earth spaceship? And he's like, yeah, everyone was hella dead. I mean, they were all nice. They weren't dead at all. Hey.
They were having the best time.
Yachio scans Tomari, and she's a 99.97% match to a human. And she's like, well, why am I not happy? And then she hits her head on the spaceship, and she says she's having system issues. And Fuguri is like, you got to take more breaks. Back at the hotel office, Yachio scans herself, but nothing is wrong. And she's like, why do I feel this way? Yachio is dumping again and acting all weird. And she's like, doorman robot, I got you more water. And he's like, thanks. But that's the 26th time today. Then he splashes water on her and is like, does that help out? But she's like, I've just been distracted lately. Doorman Robot is like, I'll perform a door opening divination for you. And he does. And he's like, see, all better. Tomari is looking at the fish tank, and Ponko and Tamako are like, our first alien guest gave that to us, and it grew all big. And then Environmental Robot rolls up and is like, fucking took you long enough. And Ponko said Yachio asked if he could help with Tomari's survey. And he's like, fuck yeah, this is what I was made for. Cuts to the office, and Yachio is hiding under her desk and says she really must be malfunctioning. Montage of Tomari's survey with Environmental Robot, and he gives her a USB drive that has all of his recordings from the day humanity left Earth up until now. She's like, holy shit. And he's like, my job is done. And then he tells her to take off the spacesuit. Earth is safe, and it's free of the virus that threatened humanity. And he said, we have the Noju Jammer plant to thank for it, and the air may be cleaner now than any other point in history. She's scared, but takes off her helmet, and she doesn't die. An Environmental Robot is like, I'm glad to be able to pass the news to you, and it makes it all worth it.
So, did you think that Environmental Robot was like, that's my last duty, and then dying? I was like, wait, what the fuck, bro?
I thought he was immediately going to die.
Yeah, I was very worried for Environmental Robot, but I'm glad he's fine.
He was just like the dude in Gattaca. Jude Law.
Oh, yeah.
Jude Law's character. He's like, my job is done here. Then he just hops in the furnace and turns it on.
Yeah. Okay, yes. I do remember what you're talking about. I remember the scene.
Oh, okay. Cuts to Yachio, and she's like, humanity is back, but ... Then she just starts freaking out, and it just is altering between scenes of Tomari and Environmental Robot screaming for joy, while Yachio is screaming because she's going crazy. Tomari runs back into the hotel and is like, check this out, no spacesuit. We can fucking live here, and I can use the shampoo hat. And Yachio is like, fuck yeah, I'm broken. This is all bad news. And then Tomari turns green and passes out. Tomari wakes up in her spacesuit and in an isolation thing. And Yachio says that they had Polstein, the doctor, look at her. And he said that she had a severe allergic reaction. She's like, I thought the virus was gone. Environmental Robot says it is. It seems like you are the ones that changed. and said humans have grown to be incompatible with Earth's atmosphere. Ponko and Yachio are sitting on the roof, and they're like, good thing Polstein is such a good doctor. And Ponko is like, you want him to look at you, Yachio? You haven't been acting right since the humans showed up. Yachio says she's not happy, and they finally got a human guest, the very thing they've been waiting for, but she's not happy. Yachio says she kept everything going because of the promise to the owner, and she waited for his return, even many human lifespans, but he never came back. Yachio says she didn't feel any happier for the human guest than an alien guest, and she must be broken beyond repair. Ponko is like, what's wrong with that? The centuries of not having humans means that aliens have become just as important as humans to you, and it's not weird at all. You're a hotelier robot after all. Yachio is like, so I'm not broken. And Ponko is like, nah, you've been serving humans and aliens for so long, and that's way cooler than keeping the promise to the owner. The next day, Tamare is in the lobby, and Yachio checks on her, and she said she's doing good after Polstein fixed her up. And she said she's thinking about leaving today, and Earth no longer belongs to them. But before she goes, she wants to experience what the alien guests experience and have a meal. Yachio is like, hell yeah, and serves her A5 Wagyu noodle hamburger steak. And she's like, oh shit, a noodle. And Yachio says they can now successfully cultivate them. Tamare is like, this is fucking fire. And then it shows other guests enjoying meals, and Tamare flashes back to looking at old research photos of happy families on Earth. Tamare leaves, and everyone is there to see her off, and Yachio is like, please come back with more humans. And Tamare says they can't live here anymore, and Yachio says, well, you could still make a temporary stay. And she's like, oh shit, you mean like an Earth hotel? Yachio walks Tamare back to her ship, and she takes off, but then stops and tells Yachio that she'll be back very soon. So keep the hotel going until she gets back. And then she flies away. Yachio is like, oh, fuck. What do you mean by very soon? Why don't you tell me these important details? And why do humans just fly off? Man, fucking humans. And then Tamare blasts off into space. Yachio unlocks the extra mission, calling a guest stupid, and she unlocks the whistle function. And now she can whistle. And she starts to whistle at the sea as she watches Tamare fucking fly away.
It's hilarious that this was like the ending, so to speak. Obviously, there's like a little bit more during the closing credits. But humans are stupid and running after the humans, and she's running. And it's just like, this is how it started. This is why it started. Humans are stupid.
She's yelling shit at Tamare, and then Tamare just sees her in the rearview mirror, and she's like,
yeah. What a great experience for all of us.
Yeah.
I really hope I left her lasting impression on Yachio, and she's like, you're a fucking idiot. Get back down here. I was down. Oh, it was good. It was good. I loved it.
But the credits roll, and the scenes after are all of the guests using the facilities, Tamako taking care of a bunch of Tanukian babies, Mommy doing a performance, and there's Noju Jammer with his wife and baby doing the OK sign, Bumbuku doing a harmonica and guitar performance, guests drinking, and Yachio is in hot girl form, and
She's
the satellite with all the hotel advertisements. And that's pretty much it. That's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
That's how the series ends. That is the finale.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I loved the last episode. I thought it was funny. This shit was just like all around solid. So good.
It's a wild ride. I will say that this anime is very Japanese to me. Not just the wedding episode, but a lot of the atmospheric stuff is very like Japanese cinema, where they have the scenes of nature and they hold those scenes longer than normal. Because I feel like in a lot of like American cinema, you don't get that. It's like a lot of action, go, go, go. Like, we got to keep your attention because we all assume you're stupid. And even here at the end, it does the classic like Japanese no closure thing. Because yes, a human came Yachio finally got to serve a human guest, but she's not happy. And then the human guest flies off and doesn't tell her when she's coming back, just like in the beginning when the humans didn't tell her like when they're actually coming back. So Yachio doesn't get the closure that she wants from this either.
Yeah, it's just like, all in all, it's a wrapped up, wonderful little package. It's like a present and very well paced, like you were saying, in comparison to American media. Like, this is something I showed to a friend of mine pretty recently. She was asking about anime recommendations and stuff that she hadn't seen yet. And I was like, dude, Apocalypse Hotel, 100%. She watched the first episode and she's like, I love this shit. It's great. And I was like, wait till you see the rest of it because it gets so cute. It's so adorable, but it's also insightful and it's also fun. Yep. It's just like a great experience all around. And it's one of those, if it wasn't for this show, I would never have watched this. I would never have been like, yeah, I'm going to watch that. But I'm glad I did.
I can't imagine this getting a season 2. And that's the other thing I like about it. It had a start, it had an end, and they filled the middle with all sorts of enjoyable things. And they used so many different storytelling elements. It wasn't just a shonen where boy gets isekai'd or boy has bad experience or is bullied but then gets powers and now becomes stronger. It's way deeper than that, and they use all sorts of different storytelling techniques in every single episode to bring you to where the very end is. And I appreciated that because it was doing a lot of things that a lot of other animes don't do. Like, it had a lot more depth to it, just like the 15-year-old aged Gingaru whiskey. With that being said, if I do my calculations here, let me tabulate, carry the 4 and divide by pi. With my own rules that I have to abide by, this is closer to a 9, but because I round down, no matter what the decimal place is, it ends up as an 8. But it is closer to a 9 than an 8.
Greg,
but
just give it a 9. Or do the decimals. What's the decimal?
8.6.
There it is. That Greg gives it an 8.6 out of 10.
No, wow. You can't do that. That's not how a 0 out of 10 scale works.
That's exactly how that works.
I guess I can give it an 8.65 out of 10. But if I'm going to post it on my anime list, I can only give it a whole number. It's an 8.
All right. 8.6 from Greg. Nice. Great job. I gave it a 7. I would probably be more inclined to give it an 8 the more I talk about it, but I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Lazarus, but for completely different and similar reasons. Let's be real. Like the journey of Yachio and the understanding of her character growth and her as an android and learning more about humans. Episode 11 was probably one of my favorite pieces of anime that I've watched as a whole. Just that alone would, if I really sat down and thought about it, I would say an 8. Let's just say I gave it an 8, Greg, even though I gave it a 7 just a few minutes ago. Let's give it an 8. It's better than Lazarus. Is that okay with you?
Do you want any decimal places there? Or you just
8.6.
Flat 8.
For me.
Okay.
So we got the exact same score, Greg.
Damn, that's crazy.
Crazy. There's the exact same score from both of us. Wow. I mean, that's really cool that we did that together. Completely independently and didn't discuss this beforehand.
I gave the animation a 10. And the reason why I did is because they had so many different elements, like the fight scene with Yachio and Ponko, the whole noodle scene, the Harmy thing. Even though this isn't an action anime, when they had to have action in it, the animation was...
It was cool.
There was no issues with the animation.
Yeah.
Like, I had more issues with Lazarus animation than I did this.
Yeah, I agree. I still think Lazarus they did a good job.
This is an anime that I could recommend to literally anybody. If you've never watched anime before, Apocalypse Hotel. If you are a seasoned anime veteran, Apocalypse Hotel. Everyone can get something out of this anime. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So thank you guys so much for listening. Also, thank you to Ice-T Aesthetics for sponsoring the show. Thank you to GamerSups, Ice-T Aesthetics, tab C10 at checkout, and GamerSups DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off your order. Also, check us out on the Instagram at the Anime Book Club podcast. You can also check out the brand new website at https://www.theanimebookclub.com, where you can see the current episode plus some of our favorites. So if you want in on those inside jokes like DJ Montague going to an onsen, tripping and cracking his head on someone else's dong, you can listen to it. The moral of the story is watch Apocalypse Hotel, because every episode is a moral.
The moral of the story is watch Apocalypse Hotel while drinking Gamer Subs and wearing an Iced Tea Aesthetics t-shirt. Anyways, friends, we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us today. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Greg. Say some stuff to the people.
Signing off.
No, you said it wrong.
Signing on.
All right. Thank you, friends. We will see you soon.
Goodbye.
Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!